Hi, Conrado. How are you doing?
Hello, Divya. I'm doing well, thank you.
Thank you for joining me today for the new episode of Cimpress Talks series. So today we'll be talking about why India is a great location for setting up an offshore development team. But before we start a conversation, Conrado, can you quickly introduce yourself to our audience, please?
Sure. So I'm Pixartprinting CTO. Pixart is part of the Cimpress group and is a web to print company that started in Italy about 20 years ago, and we are serving customers all around Europe. Currently, we are market leaders in Italy, Spain, and we are very well positioned in France as well. We are serving customers in UK, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, Portugal.
Okay. Thank you for your introduction, Conrado. So now I think we are good to begin the conversation. But before we get into the conversation about why India, I would like you to highlight what an organization needs in order to set up an offshore development team. And what is that stage when an organization can take a call that they want to go offshore?
Mhm. So I think that there is a time when an organization needs to take a decision on whether it wants to remain local and serve their customers in a certain way, or have a broader ambition and become a global company. And at that time, it is essential to look outside of the borders, of the traditional borders of that company, because at that stage, the company becomes hungry of people with good analytical, problem-solving, organizational skills that you might not be finding around, and also there is the need to quickly respond to the market needs and growth with the people with these competences, taking in consideration a certain cost containment. Furthermore, looking offshore brings to an organization fresh air, cultural diversity, different points of view that, from my perspective, are essential in any organization with the ambition to become global.
Okay. So now I think we can jump into the major part of our topic that, why India? Why do you think India could be a good option to set up an offshore team?
Yeah, I think India uh, has a unique combination of people with good analytical and problem-solving skills, as it was that, which is a type of profiles that I was mentioning before. People with a good cultural approach, super motivated, ambitious, very well educated, and this is also in a big scale, considering that it's a highly populated country. That also is very used to work in a multinational context with companies abroad using English as a first language. So again, I think that the combination of all these factors are making India a unique country in this global context.
So, again, Conrado, I think every opportunity comes with pros and cons as well. You have very nicely mentioned about the pros of having a team in India. What about the cons? What do you think are the challenges that one should factor in while setting up an offshore team in India and even anywhere on the planet for that matter?
So the challenges, the first challenge is when you sit down with your team and you say, you know what, we're starting to think on building a squad in India. Then the first reaction from your team is like, oh no, my work is going to be offshore. So in a year from now, somebody in India is going to be doing my work. There's a lot of effort on the communication to demonstrate to the people and to explain that it's not you against them, but it's like you and them. Right. That together we're going to be able to do something that in the past, because of lack of resources or lack of focus, we were not able to focus on. Second is to manage the communication and the cultural gap. again, if we are talking about a company that is moving from local to global, it could be that in the headquarters you don't have people with the skills to work with remote and distributed teams, or even to manage a word discussion in English. So let alone the discussion about different accents, for example. In addition to this, there is the different, the cultural approach, how people are managing confrontation, different ways to say no. Are everybody able to understand when this person is saying no without saying no? Finally, there's the challenge as well on manage the stakeholders' expectations, in the sense that, for example, in the level of investment in India is certainly lower than it could be in Europe or in the States, in order to ramp up, to build a development team. But it's not that cheap. And to make clear for the business stakeholders that we are not going to India because of the cost. Cost is a component, it's a very important component, but that we are going to India because of the type of skills and competences and the scale that we want. Sometimes it's not as easy as it might look like.
Okay, I think this was quite insightful. And so, based on your experience, what are your recommendations, or what would be your recommendations to someone who is perhaps aiming to set up an offshore team, offshore development team?
Mm-hmm. My recommendation would be to start small and grow. Get an initial team of individuals, which must be very good, because those individuals are going to be the ones that are going to be demonstrating that growing in India is going to make a good impact on the entire organization. So it is essential that even if you start small, that the rest of the company perceives the value very quickly. Then it's also very important to create areas of ownership. So at the beginning, it's going to be difficult because there's knowledge transfer. The new people will need to understand how the company operates. But as early as possible, try to create a clear area of ownership. So you know that this team, geographically located in that location, is owning that capability versus the other team probably sitting in the headquarters. Another thing is to be present and to make sure that whenever it's needed, whoever is the main sponsor of bringing of growing in India, that is present there and is helping to create bridges. And whenever we see that one of the challenges that we were raising before are present, you react quickly, you try to consolidate the communication, and you move from there.
Right.
In conclusion, I would say that as a final recommendation, I would say that moving to offshore anywhere, in particular in India, but anywhere in the world, it's important to think about that as a long-term investment. So start small, but have an horizon of 12 to 18 months to get the scenario consolidated, and then it's going to fly along. But especially at the beginning, you're going to be very present, and whoever looks for a short-term solution needs to really reconcile this scenario.
Right. So I think from topic perspective, we have covered it all. And to bring an end to this conversation, can you highlight some of your personal favorite incidents while working with an offshore team? Like how perhaps it added to your personality, or how it made you diversify your personality or your work skills?
You mean in a personal matter
Yeah.
for me? I mean, for me, one of the things that I really like is the fact of having of working with offshore locations is helping me to celebrate things around the world. So you get a country in like India, where you have many festivals from various religions. Then it's super interesting for me to know that, okay, now is Diwali, or now there is people in India which are celebrating Ramadan, and then there might be people which are Christians. And this, as a personally, I think is super interesting, and it's a good experience as an individual for me.
That's really nice how you remember all the important festivals of India. Okay, so I think we can end the conversation here. I think this was quite insightful and interesting. And thank you so much for taking out time for this. And I hope our audience also finds this conversation helpful and insightful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you and take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.